Hi, Christopher. It's so nice to have you on the show. How are you doing today?
Good, Aisha. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I am so excited to have you on the show for some reasons. All right. Firstly, I strictly believe that knowledge is the solution to world's problem. And secondly, I believe that there are some things that Christopher knows that some of my audience needs to hear you say this stuff, directly from your mouth in order to experience transformation. And one of the proof to that is the book behind you. What's good about a day? Okay, and thirdly, I also believe that even I myself will learn one or two things from your story, your insight, your experiences, even though I already learned a series of things, getting to read that amazing book. But the audience are yet to. So I want us to get started with your introduction, the journey, the challenges that you faced, and how you overcame them. And afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Christopher, over to you.
Thank you, Aisha. Thank you so much for having me on your show. Really appreciate it. And thank you for reading parts of the book. Hopefully, you get to read the whole thing. So, my journey, I'm from a small town in Pennsylvania, USA, called Camp Hill, Pennsylvania. It's where I grew up, rural part of Pennsylvania. Grew up like a lot of American families, raised with four other brothers, good family, good parents. I was raised in a Christian home. I went to college and graduated from college. All along the way, I married my high school sweetheart, who I met when I was 15 years old. We're together today. We had three children, of course, and the story of what's good about today, which we'll talk about, talks about our journey as a family, which I think a lot of families go through, and heartache and grief and difficulties, how you overcome those difficulties, how you come out on the other side. There's a lot in between there that happens to people. But I graduated college, went into corporate America like a lot of people, got a job, went through the grind, living the quintessential American dream, got married, and we were excited for children. That's what we were the most excited about. And our first child's name was Christian. We picked that specifically for him because we felt he was destined for really great things. And he was an amazing child, even as a little boy. I talk a lot about my son in the present tense, you'll notice, because I always feel like he's here with me. And so, he was special. Even within 12 months of life, he was speaking full sentences. So I knew this kid was a little different than anyone else. And he showed his compassion, most importantly. Not only, of course, he was extremely talented in so many facets, but what was the most incredible thing about him was his nature to other humans, his ability to recognize their pain, the ability to recognize their suffering, those who are in need. He gave all of himself to others. Even as a child, he did this, which is extraordinary. Because a lot of kids, they're into a lot of different things, but he was unique. He did that even as a teenager, which even is more remarkable that a teenager would have that capability. And of course, as a young adult, he he graduated high school, went to college, graduated with honors, was set to start his life as a young adult, graduating. And, he's a great actor. He was been in some movies. He's done some really great things from that perspective on the talent side. But all along the way, just this journey of just being a good human being. And shortly after graduation, right before COVID hit, right around that time, Christian was experiencing back pain. We took him to all kinds of doctors. It took a while before we figured things out, but Christian was diagnosed with terminal cancer, something called cholangiocarcinoma. It's bioduct cancer, for those who don't know what that long word means, and I certainly didn't when it was told to me. But that was August 26th of 2020. And since that moment that Christian got that diagnosis, I witnessed something that was truly extraordinary. He never complained one time when he had this disease. As a matter of fact, when he had that disease that same day, was diagnosed with terminal cancer, his mom and I said to him how sorry we were that you had this. And he said, it's okay. He says, I would wish this on anyone. This is my burden to take, and I will take it. And it was extraordinary that someone who was essentially given a death sentence was willing to just take that burden on, but also live his life fully, even to the very end. And so the book is a reflection of course, how I met my wife, the stories of family, and I'm sure a lot of those listeners that you have, everyone has a family, and everyone has a universal thing that we all deal with, which is grief. Right? We lose parents, we lose grandparents, we lose aunts and uncles, our siblings, our brothers. Losing your child, I say, is a lot like, it's like sticky glue. I've lost my parents, but losing a child, it just is, it's on you all the time. And so I felt compelled a year and a half ago that I need to sit down. I like to write, and it's probably the one thing I'm halfway good at. And I like to express myself. I like to sit down and put my thoughts down on paper. And so during Christian's disease, I wrote all the time. I journaled my experiences. I journaled how I felt. And they were raw. They were real. And I thought, a year and a half ago, I'll go back. I had to relive that stuff, which is very difficult. But I thought it was important. I felt that nudge, that we all get that, right? That nudge, someone pushes you, right? We were all pushed to do different things, to serve for other and mankind. And so I felt that push, and it was a push that I needed to put this down so that I could continue to tell Christian's story. I could continue to inspire those. And so the book is called What's Good About Today, A Purpose-Driven Life. And the reason it's called What's Good About Today is because during Christian's year of cancer, he reminded us every day, he would say, what's good about today? When we were depressed, when we were crying, when we were sad, and others were sad, he would say, hey, what's good about today? And it helped us reflect that even in the worst of moments, and the worst of times, and the worst day you're having, we all have them. We all have bad days. But you can look back on your day, and you can look at things, and you can say, what was beautiful about today? What was special about today? Who did I meet? Who did I connect with? And that's my story. I certainly work in the business world, but right now my focus is to focus on the Christian Cochran Foundation. That is to support those who are in need, poverty, schools, inner city schools that are struggling with funds, getting the message out there to help kids who are waking up every day, and they're in broken homes, and they're in difficult situations, and they're saying, what is good about today? But if someone can remind them every day, and they see the positivity of that, they can find that and look past some of the difficulties that they're having. And I believe that, and that's what my mission is.
Beautiful, beautiful. Christian was a great guy. Reading the book, I actually learned some beautiful stuff. And his story is so powerful that it has this enablement to inspire and, open one's eyes to the fact that no matter how terrible the situation is, what is good about today, you must always find the good thing about that particular day and make the most out of it. That's a great one. So,
Absolutely.
shall we get started with the questions?
Sure.
Okay. Some might actually be curious on how you found strength and resilience to stay positive during that difficult time. Can you talk to us about how you found strength and resilience?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. It wasn't easy. There's nothing easy in this life. There's a quote that's in my book, and I use it. It's by Bruce Lee. He used to say, don't pray for an easy life. Pray for the strength to endure a difficult one. because that quote has always stuck with me. And it's always been one of those things that I've always, pre-cancer, it was a different life. I don't even know that guy, to be honest with you. But I always pray to God to give me the strength to endure difficult moments, endure difficult times. But certainly nothing easy about the circumstances that we went through as a family, right? I mean, statistically, families who go through these kinds of circumstances, and there's all kinds of traumas with families, right? Parents lose children to suicide, to drugs. My particular case, of course, I watched my son slowly die over a course of a year, and with his family surrounding him in our house. So we witnessed all these things. But I think you have to, as you go through this process, you have to learn, and I say this a lot, is two things. It's very important. One is be always humble to God. I humble myself all the time. I'm not worthy of his love. And number two, learn to let go your control. And once you realize, I think that's the part when you ask me, how did I endure? How does the family endure? Not easy. My relationship with God is a relationship. I always say it is a relationship like a relationship I have with family, right? I can get mad at God. I can get angry at God, get disappointed in God. But it's a relationship. But I've learned you have to let that go. You start to work away from the whys and the whats, and you get to the point where you realize you're not in control. None of us are really in control of anything. So all we can do while we're here is do all we can do for others and bring love to them, right? And that is, I think, essentially how we navigated things. It's how we, we look at things. It's how we've reflected on things. I think it's incredibly important that others continue to do that as you go through things. I always say Christian had this thing. Christian would say Christian never had a to-do list. You know how many people have to-do lists around us. Christian had a to-love list, and so that is important. I think if you put together a list instead of to-dos, put together a to-love list.
I got that. Okay, we have 2 more questions to go. Can you explain the significance of the chapter titled 8,508 days and what it means to you personally? Can you talk to us about it?
Sure. Well, yes, that is, of course, that's the amount of days that Christian lived, right? I think it's a stark reminder of how much limited time we all have on this earth, right? So when you look at when you break life down into days, right? It's incredibly profound what limited amount of time we have. So I think about this. In a world that's governed by the relentless ticking of a clock, I believe it's essential in our lives that we not just do it just by days and years, but really by the moments that are filled with joy, acts of kindness, and the pursuit really of meaning, right? Because it's not about the length of time we live, but it's about the depth of experiences. And you need to focus and transform this as an outlook in your life. And I think, that chapter, it's interesting you brought that up. It's an important chapter to me because when I was writing this, it came to me like, well, how long did my son actually live? And there's websites where you put in their date of birth and when they pass away, and any of us can do this, right? And you can see how long you've lived and how long you've been here, and you break it down in days, and it's really not that long. And so that's why I titled it that chapter. Actually, it was originally one of my subtitles, but I changed that because I felt like this book is a roadmap in many ways to the pursuit of a purposely driven life. I'm always in pursuit of a purposely driven life. and I'm trying to achieve that. I think I'm telling this story as inspired by Christian. It's not my story. I'm just telling the story as I look at Christian. So that's an important chapter for sure. But thank you for bringing it up.
Beautiful. Okay, so um, how has writing this book impacted you personally and professionally?
Well, personally, obviously, it's it's a deep memoir. It's a journey and a process. Writing is a difficult task when you're trying to put it all together and tell a story. And I've said this before that, like any good story, you could look at great stories that have ever been told through lifetimes. And I look at all the time because Disney has this incredible way of drawing you into a character. There's always this beginning part, and the middle part is about this difficult moment one goes through, and it could be death, it could be difficult certain circumstances, but then it's always about this overcoming and becoming better and achieving something and getting something out of it. And so that's how I took, from a personal perspective, how I wrote the book, how I went through my cathartic process. From a professional perspective, I'm a businessman. I run a technology company here in the United States. I sit on a board of a cancer research company, a public research company here in the United States, Coeptis Therapeutics, which is seeking therapies for cancer, cancers that have not been solved yet in the world. And so it's very high-tech stuff. It's very detailed. I'm not a scientist by any means. I just sit on the board and help and advise, go through process, because obviously I have a personal experience to cancer. I've seen it. I've been through the difficult trials. I've not only, of course, the personal stuff, but I've dived deeply into the science of cancer and how it works, and learning and trying to be better at that. So I think from a professional perspective, the book has led me down a chart of meaning. Most importantly, is meeting people, meeting you, Aisha. There's a reason why I'm meeting you today. It's not circumstance. It's not just by chance. I think there's always purpose to things. And so this opportunity that we're together right now, it's all you and I are guaranteed right now, right? Once we leave each other, there's no guarantees. So this book has allowed me to meet a lot of people and has allowed me to experience and learn about others. And that's important.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love that. Okay, Christopher, to bring this to an end, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those ones who would like to reach out to you, even get the book, and learn more about what you do, how can that be possible?
Sure. Here, there's a lot that I've said, and the important thing is, if I had to leave your audience with anything, it's embrace love, courage, kindness, by really living present in the moment. We can transform our lives to those around us. So it's always important to make every moment count, create a legacy of positivity and compassion. So that would be my message to those who are listening. And of course, I hope you pick up the book. I think that the book will help to inspire. The book is also an opportunity. I always think of it as I classify it really as a teaching memoir, because I think it's an opportunity to read, but you can go back to it, because at the end of every chapter, it gives, opportunities to show you what you can do. But you can pick up the book. It's in global distribution now. It's for pre-order right now. It doesn't come out till August 22nd, but you can order it. It's available through Amazon and any major online outlet that's out there. I'm sure Apple has it, Apple Books. So it's pretty, it's out there in the marketplace. If you'd like to learn more about my son, Christian, you can go to christiancochran.org. If you go to Google and just put in Christian Cochran, I'm sure you'll pull up all kinds of information on my son and the foundation. The other part is Chris Cochran Speaks. That's me. Both locations can also get connected to the book, but also learn about what I'm doing and trying to get out there and speak to more people. So that's my goal in life. That's
Yeah,
what I'm trying to do.
That's good. That's good. And you're doing a great job, I tell you. It's amazing what you're doing. Just keep doing what you're doing because listening to you speak, man, you're just so good at what you do. I tell you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
so that's gonna be the end of the show, Christopher. Thank you for coming and thank you for impacting us with this amazing insight. It means a whole lot, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.